Hello, everyone. It's nice to be back here again. I'm going to tell you a story today. It's a real story. Um, Sometime ago in 2016, I had a matter in court, and so I appeared in court. But before my case was called, there was a case that was called. It was a case of child rape. A mother would leave her three children, all below the age of 13, at home, and she'd go to work. I think that it was during the period of the holidays. And then there's this malam that lives in the neighborhood. He'd jump over the fence when the mother has gone to work, then go into the house with these three children. He'd hand over his phone to the youngest, which is the boy, to watch pornography in the living room. Then he'd take the two sisters into the bedroom and defile them. This happened a few times. When the matter was being called in court that day, I looked at the children because they were in court and I was in pain. I found out at that moment that the prosecution of the accused person was not really the issue for me. It was these children, what had been introduced to them, and how their childhood had been abruptly interrupted by such toxic behavior, and how they will now cope. Now, one thing we should know is when child abuse happens to a child, especially child sexual abuse, what it does is that it puts an abrupt stop to the childhood of that child. Now, some of them, they react in different ways to that abuse. The first and foremost thing is that when children are abused, the first thing they feel is guilt. They feel it's their fault that they were raped. They feel it's their fault that they were molested or harassed. They feel that they are responsible for what happened to them. Then they feel shame. They feel like everybody knows. People know what has happened to me, even though people don't know. But they begin to feel shame. And then from shame, they withdraw. Then that begins to affect their self-esteem. Now, as children, they are growing. So now they have to grow past all those several negative emotions they are feeling, which is the clause I'm talking about. They have to grow past it, through it, into it, anyhow, above it. But the truth is that they have to pass through, they have to process everything that's happened to them to get to the other side. Most of the time, like 99% of the time, children can't process what happened to them. They can't process the rape. They can't process the assault. They don't know what happened to them. And so what do? They react. They react. They react to the trauma. And in reacting to the trauma, they bring out nothing positive actually comes from it most of the time. You see a child who's been abused, doesn't know what happened to her, doesn't know how it came about. She felt like maybe she enjoyed it at some point, feeling guilty for even enjoying it, and guilt comes. As I said before, guilt comes, shame comes, regret comes. Then the child begins to withdraw. Self-esteem issues arise. And then before you know, the child builds a future based on all those emotions. These are negative emotions. So how else will a child grow to be a positive child, a healthy, mentally healthy child, a socially healthy child with all those kind of negative emotions surrounding them? And that is where counseling comes in, because counseling helps you to process, to digest everything that has happened to you as a child when you were abused. And when these all emotions and expressions are broken down and explained and expressed to this child begins to realize that is a sense of worth or self comes, and the child begins to know that what happened to me is not my fault. I'm not guilty. The person who did that to me is not really an enemy. The person is sick. Because most especially, the person may have also been abused.